J. Garrick, The Flash, issue 6, Jeremy Adams writing with Diego Olortegui on the
Yep.
art. So this is wrapping up this story, and I think it's a solid ending to the book. I will say,
Yeah.
you know, we ended with a cliffhanger that Judy got captured by Elemental Man.
Dr. Elemental.
Dr. Elemental. You know,
Because he's like Dr. Doom. He's got the mask and everything.
Close enough.
The mask and the hood, and yeah.
But I will say, like, it felt like the whole run or the whole series was building to whatever this payoff was going to be.
Yep.
And it basically just amounted to Jay running in and saving her. And that was it. Like, there wasn't really much more to it.
Well, and there was some nice emotional beats there, too, because the whole thing that Elemental wants to do is he's going to supercharge all of the water on the Earth to become that hard water that gave Jay his powers, and that he feels that Judy's his creation because the whole metagene thing, right? Because Jay didn't have this power until he gave it to him. He tried to replicate it in Joan, and that didn't work exactly. But then here's Judy, so he knows it can work. But it's going to take out, 90% of the population. So, of course, you have to stop it.
It's going to kill 90% of the population, but the 10% that remain will all get superpowers.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're a psychopath. That's a lot of billions of people you're going to kill.
Yeah.
So, basically Jay eventually just has to run around because Dr. Elemental, he's got like every Star Labs in the world kind of like turns on, and there's like, beams of light coming up from all of them. Very, very like generic third act of a blockbuster, blue beam of light getting out of the sky stuff.
Complete with the light beams.
Yeah. But Jay has to run around and take them all out to stop this from happening. I do like that Judy just kind of trash talks Dr. Elemental, and she never really kind of loses her fire, which is kind of fun. But yeah, we also have robot enhanced sharks.
Robo sharks. We have robo bears. Now we have robo sharks. The sharks have hands. They got laser beams attached to their heads.
Well, I would say they've got claws more specifically. They got
hands, but still, I got to that page. I was like, oh, this is fun. But I like what it does with the idea of Jay and legacy. That's the emotional thing that I was getting to, where he was like, I didn't know I had a daughter until a couple of days ago, and now they're trying to take her away from me. Not again. And the whole idea of what legacy means to the Flash and all of this type of stuff, and that it starts with Jay. And I really like that.
There's the moment where he phones Joan and says she's been kidnapped, and she's like, you make sure you get her back. And it's probably the nicest scene of the issue.
Yeah.
When Jay finally arrives after destroying all the Star Labs devices that are doing this, that's a great page. There's a lot of detail in it because he sort of crash lands, and it's because of the water's kicking up around him. But you've got all the yellow lightning over the top of it. It contrasts really well with the light blue water behind it. So the page, I just think it looks like a really, really nice panel. Because
he's racing essentially the signal that's going to go, to all the different labs to set off the Dr. Elemental's bomb, essentially. So, so it's definitely he's racing against something.
Yeah, I feel like this miniseries has been enjoyable. I've liked the characterizations, but I think it probably could have done with like another couple of drafts before they like locked in the script, just to be like give it more of a meaty story. Because now I'm looking back at it as like 6 issues, I kind of feel like the story was just kind of there. It was kind of just fine. It was more about just having fun moments with the characters, and then it doesn't feel like it crescendoed to a great ending. And I feel like it's I think this is like a companion piece you can sort of recommend. If you've read Adam's Flash run, I might as well read this as well. There's a sort of bit of Jay and Judy, but that's about it.
It was definitely Adams getting to tell his Jay Garrick story, and like you said, maybe he needed a couple more drafts. But the fact that he was able to revisit his origin and kind of flesh out this Dr. Elemental and do all of that type of stuff and play in that sandbox again. But we could have had a little bit more of a thorough line that wasn't just Dr. Elemental.
Just something a bit more meaty. Like I'm fine with Dr. Elemental being the main villain, but he just there has to. I think he had to like ramp up the stakes at least an issue or two earlier so that it felt like things were on the line. It felt like we only just set this up at the end of last issue, and then we have to wrap it up at the end of this one. It just kind of felt a little bit too lightweight.
If he was like, well, I must undo what I had done, and that's how he was trying to take Judy away instead of having her be this conduit for whatever. And, you know, I felt like that's proper villain stuff.
And I think it sticks out as well because his Green Lantern run right now is so good. This feels like it's not as good as most of his Flash run.
Lower tier.
Yeah, this feels like the weaker end of Jeremy Adams stuff that I've read. Which is not to say that it's bad. It's just there's just nothing special really. Like I don't think I could ever recommend this on its own. It's like no, if you've read his Flash run, may as well tack this on and read this too. But it's not like, you know, it was a nice, delightful read, but hardly must-read material by any means. So yeah, the whole thing ends with like this Flash family photo being taken. And we see the final photograph in the last page. So,
one of that and the inclusion of the Justice Society too, that they're part of the Flash family. You know, so but I definitely like looking at that family photo and picking out all the different characters, and I was kind of like, well, you know, I do miss a regular. Like, not that John's JSA isn't regular, right? He's doing his own story with Helena and all this new characters. I miss these core ones, right? Like you know, Hourman and Jesse Quick and Mr. Terrific, Dr. Midnight. So it just, you know, it's just one of those things where it makes me miss that era.
Sure. All right. I don't really have anything else to add. I think it's a simple enough book. What were you rating it?
I'm going to give this a 6.5.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, 6.5.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it did definitely feel like the climax of it was just, here you go, typical Flash stuff.
I just, it never felt like it became a big story. It just kind of felt like, oh, it's over. Oh, and that was it. Okay. Well, it was fine. I'm not, I don't regret reading it or anything, but yeah.